Well, welcome everyone. My name again is Linda Siegel, and I'm with Technology for Life, and we've been doing some of these workshops for the library about once a month. Today's topic is about Google Photos. I'd like to kind of review the app, some of the editing features, and then we can talk more about some of the organizational features within Google Photos, how you can more quickly find your files, find your photos, create collages and little slideshows or memories from them, things like that, and also be able to share them with other people. I'll be demonstrating both from my iPhone and from my PC computer, Windows PC. I don't have an Android phone, but I do have the Google Photos app on my iPhone, so I can show that as well. And then along the way, if you have a question, if you want to pop it in the chat, I can keep an eye on that. And then periodically, I'm going to ask you if you have questions, take a little break so we can absorb information as we go. So that's kind of the plan. Let's get started and kind of review. Hold on. I'm looking for my notes. Getting started with the phone. Okay. Got a couple screens going, so. Yeah, okay. All right, actually, maybe let me share my screen. Okay, you see my screen with this idea of the photos? Okay, good. So the idea with Google Photos, and it's similar with iPhone and their photo management system. But with Google Photos, you take a photo with your phone, typically, that's the camera you have with you. You sync it to the cloud, and then you can have other devices that can access that same photo. So in this example, I take a photo with my phone, it goes to the cloud, eventually it syncs to my computer so I can see those photos in the same place. And I have the ability to make albums either on my computer or on my phone, and they kind of sync back and forth. So that's a little bit of the broad strokes of some organization too. You'll take the photo as usual with your camera, and then you can edit it and create albums either on your phone or on your computer, and I'll show them to you both ways. Let me switch over to my phone. Let's see if technology is going to work for me on the phone. So you should be seeing my phone now. And I'm going to bring up the Google Photos app. So this is what it looks like on the iPhone. It should be similar on your Android phone as well. Like most apps, the controls are usually on the top or the bottom. And if you notice on the bottom here, I've got photos, memories, library, and search. The photos would be the photos as I've taken them according to the date. Memories are things that it creates that kind of groups them by date and then creates little videos. And library will show you the library of things, but also allow you to organize them into albums. So that gets more into the organization. But let's start with looking at some photos. So let's see, you'll see a lot of cat photos that I have here. And then I went to the Pink concert over the weekend, so I got a couple photos of there. With Google Photos, when you take a photo, you can come and view it. And like most things, I mean, what you'll probably do is decide whether or not you want to keep it. If not, delete it, of course. You can share it with the share button, which would just send it like as a text message or as an email attachment, something like that. But I wanted to show a couple things with looking at this. One nice thing about Google Photos is it's built on top of Google, so it has pretty strong search and what they call machine learning capabilities. So it can know what things are in the picture. So to do that, I'm gonna tap on this button at the bottom that says lens, and that will go and it will look at this photo. I just took this a few minutes ago to help identify any objects in the photo. What I want to find out is I can never remember the name of this flower, this type. And actually this one's kind of a little bit towards the end of its life, so it's a little wilted, but I was able to identify it as a zinnia flower here. And that's using the lens option. Okay. Or a question, sorry. I've got one here. If I run the lens on here, it will actually, I think it did this earlier, identify the type of cat in this photo, which is a tortoiseshell tabby cat. Very well rested one. Did not identify the bobbleheads inside there though, but that's another thing. So that's using the lens option. Also, so that's kind of cool. Like if you're out and about and you take a picture of something and you don't know what it is, you can see if it can identify it through the lens capability. In the editing menu, and I think we were talking about this a little bit before we started, there's some pretty cool editing tools that are built into the app itself. And these you can also do on the desktop version, but I find it kind of handy to do it right here when I'm with it on the phone. The most common ones it's going to you'll see at the top, so it can do some of these enhancements. Like I could make it more warm or more cool. I don't know if that's coming through. You can see it a little bit, I think. I find handy the crop function, so I can crop the image if I need to. Or rotate. Here's the rotating tool. You can even rotate, pulling this little slider around. Let me cancel out of this and discard those changes. So suggestions would be like what Google thinks it should do. That's what you see the choices here at the top. Then cropping tools, and then more general tools. And there's this cool, I don't know if you guys have played with the magic eraser. So what that will do is let you erase parts of the image that you don't want or that you find distracting. So if I want to get rid of this bobblehead, I'm going to just draw a circle around it. Oh, I didn't do a very good job there. Let me undo. I'm going to draw a circle around, and we can see that circle around the bobblehead. You see that? I just erased it and kind of filled in with the louvers of the window. And it's not bad. You see a little smudge, but I think if you're focusing on the object, I want you to focus on, you don't really notice that. Let's see if I can get rid of the other bobblehead guy. There you go. So I think that's a pretty cool feature. People do it like in group photos. If there's somebody photobombing you in the back, you could get rid of them. Just playing around with that. Let me cancel out of this and show you this photo, I think. So this one, if I go and do the magic eraser, it'll get rid of the people on the sides and on the background. That you see how they're kind of highlighted. I didn't do anything other than say magic eraser, and it outlined all the things that it thought it could erase. So let's just see what it does if I tap erase all. So it got rid of all the crowd people kind of around it. I wonder what camouflage does. Okay. So that's a really cool feature that it can do. I tried with the magic eraser to see if I could get rid of the water bottle in my hand, but that one wasn't. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit and see if I can just draw on it. Not sure if that's the best way. Well, that's not great. Let me try drawing a little circle around it, see if that works better. Oh, that's pretty good. So now I don't have that water bottle showing there if I didn't want that in the picture.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You have to be, I didn't even know I had Google Photos on my phone. I've been using the Samsung thing. But do you have to be a Google One member to do this? Because it's telling me that for a lot of things.
That I don't know. Let me Google it. I am a Google One subscriber because yeah, I don't know. So you don't see the magic eraser as an option under tools? Or would you do it?
Let me try. Edit. You go under suggestions first.
Well, suggestions will be what it thinks it wants would be helpful to do. So it kind of goes through the filters at the bottom here and picks the ones it would recommend. But you can go into tools and there you'll find magic eraser.
Oh, gotcha.
Blur and focus.
Tools. It's not.
You don't see magic eraser as a choice?
Nothing.
Okay. Yeah, I'm also
experiencing. It just says
experiencing.
blur. That's it. Maybe it's the picture I took.
Yeah. Do you have a picture with like some objects in it or people or?
Yeah, I'll try that. Okay.
Look for a photo with a bunch of people in the background and it might appear there.
It says it has a 1 next to it. Like this one was.
Oh, okay.
Unlock this feature and more with a Google One membership.
What
does Google One membership mean? Does that mean you're paying them $2 a month to store your pictures?
You're right. Yeah, I think it does require Google One. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so that's why I just saw this recently. Yeah, so Google One is their program for getting enhanced storage. So when you get your Google account, you get a certain amount of storage. I think you get 15 gigabytes to start with, and that's for all your Gmail, your Google Drive, things like that. If you need more than 15 gigabytes, you can get a Google One account, and it's pretty reasonable. I think I pay $20 a year. And if you have a lot of photos, it can really be, you may need to do that.
Okay.
I have a fair number of photos, and I also have a bit of files on a Google Drive, so that's why I had to upgrade. Just looking at my storage, yeah.
Yeah, see that little 1, that's what shows up. And
yeah. So I guess those features, thanks for pointing that out, do require the Google One level to do that. I may have enticed you to do that with some of these enhanced features though. Let's see what the blur does. Oh. It kind of makes it feel a little bit more like a portrait when I can do the blur, so it's detecting that. Focus. Let's see. But the regular features, like several of them, if I go into the adjust mode, you can see there's brightness and contrast and shadows, saturation. Here I can go to like saturation and you can see what it I can make it a little more desaturated if it got too much color. That tool should be available to you without the Google One level. Darn, I got so excited about that magic eraser, I didn't notice that it was limited in its use. Okay. So there's a fair number of editing tools that they're quite powerful, even the basic ones that don't require the Google One. Pop is actually kind of neat when it sort of will make it kind of brings out the highlights a little bit. All right. Save that as a copy, and then you can kind of compare. So this one I kind of blurred the background and brought it out. This was the original there. All right. Any questions about editing?
I had a question. This is Marianne.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you say when you took a picture that you saved it in the cloud. Is that necessary to do that? Or can you just save it on your Google? I have Google One, so it's saved in that. Is that not correct?
Yeah, so Google One is the cloud.
Okay, that's what you meant.
Google
All right.
Cloud.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
right.
Not iCloud, which is Apple's cloud.
Yes, right. Because there's a OneDrive and there's all these different
there's too many different clouds. So
right.
Google's cloud service, I believe, is, well, I usually think of it as Google Drive. And then when you need to go beyond the 15 gigabyte default, then you have to get their paid version,
right,
called Google One.
Right.
Yeah, they'll probably rename it again and rebrand it in a couple of years just to confuse us more.
Right.
But
thank you.
Yeah. Also in here, let's see, let's take a look at memories. So memories are Google's compilation of your photos. Apple has something similar. I think it's called Memories also. I forget what it's called. So it kind of builds it based on who's in the photo, where it is, tries to give it some context. Like, here's a bunch of photos. We were at Pebble Beach. So it knew kind of all the photos that were taken in the location, in that same location, and it grouped them together. And then it could create like a little slideshow for me. Let me back up to the library for a second. When you take a photo, this is pink flying over me, there's information embedded in that photo. I'm just going to slide up and I can see that. So I know when and where it was taken. So it was taken on Sunday at about 10:45, where at the Chase Center. And then further down here at the bottom, it tells me what device took it, what the format is, how big it is, some of those details. Often they call that the metadata. So that's the information about the photo. And that's just part of the details that are kept in the photo itself. So because that information is in there, you can search on that information. So back at the main level, you see the button on the far right, there's the search. So I can search, I can see things grouped by places. Even like on the map, I can see photos taken in different places. Or earlier this year, we were over in, where were we, in Spain, in Mallorca, and I have some pictures there that I took. So I can look at them kind of in the map view, again, because that's embedded in the information, or items that are in there as well. And it can also identify people, and we'll go into like how you can group some of the people and label them, and then it will find other pictures that have that person in there once you give it a little bit of information.
Linda?
Yeah.
This is Marianne. I just have a question about the security of that. Can other people look at your metadata and find out where you went on your vacation? I'm kind of concerned that is it public or is it private or what?
Your photos are private, but you'll want to make sure you have a good password on your Google account,
Mhm.
and maybe even also use two-factor authentication so that someone tried to log in with your username and password, they would also have to have your phone and get a text message or go through the app to verify who you are. Okay, so just storing it in Google One or Google Drive, it should be protected as long as you have a good password. Now, that said, it is online, so there's the potential out there. It's not non-existent because it is on the cloud, but it is Google's business to try and keep it as secure as possible. Otherwise, people won't want to use their services. But no, people can't generally browse unless you share it in some public way.
Thank you.
If you send somebody the picture, that metadata is, I believe, included in there. So where it was taken and when it was taken, I think would get sent along with it. Like if you attach it in an email or send it as a text, I believe that data would follow along with it. So they can know where you are. It's why, sometimes you hear in the news that like they triangulate videos and things, they can get the location, that embedded data out of the media file. So that is something to be aware of, definitely. And once you have your photos or as you take them, you can search. So you could search by things that's in that metadata, like Palma. I think it'll search on that. Let's see if it finds the pictures that I took in Palma. So it knows. Now, I'm not sure why it picked the Joe's Pizza one. It might be something in the file itself. It has the word Palma in it, maybe? Not sure. This one came from a Canon, the old little digital cameras. Let's see. Is there something in the text of the image that says? Yeah, I'm not quite sure why that one showed up in the list, but these were taken, the ones above were taken there. We crashed a bunch of weddings in Palma. That was what we did. You can also search by things. So I can look for cats. My son has new kittens, so we have a lot of this little pair of kittens here. Not that one, this one. So I have a lot of those in my feed recently. Or you could look for a lake. Things with water. Okay. Thinks the bay is a little bit of a lake too, I guess. Which is kind of cool that it can do that it can, find that. Let's see, Greenberry minus cat. Here I gave a more, that's kind of strange compilation. So you can put in search things they have, or as you identify, let's say people, or yeah, so I can look for. So even 30-year-old pictures of my wedding, even 35-year-old pictures you can see. There. Okay. So the search capability is pretty powerful. As you get more pictures, though, you often want to organize them your own way. And the best way to do that, I think, is using what are called albums. So those, if we go to library, these are albums that I've created for different things. We were doing a bathroom remodel, so I took a bunch of pictures that that I could put in here. So then when I'm going and looking at things, I could have them to refer back to some of the dimensions and so forth. Okay. So an album is just a collection of photos, and you can have the same photo in more than one album. And that's kind of powerful as a way to organize too. So I took this trip to Spain, so I could have an album that's called Spain that has all the photos that I took in there. And then I could make another album that's like the best of Spain, which has maybe the 10 or 15 really good ones. And then I could show those to people instead of showing them the whole big album. And there's a couple different ways to create an album. One album you get kind of easily is the favorites album, and it's right there at the top. So any picture that you mark as a favorite will show up in the album. So like I got a new insurance card, so I put that in there so I could get to it easily and quickly. I'm not sure, some of these I don't need. The way you make a favorite album is if you're looking at a photo, right at the top, you can see the little star, kind of the top on the right. That makes it a favorite. So that's like a really quick way to add it to the favorite album. Okay. The other, yeah, so that's useful that way. Then to put this in an album, like let's say I want to create an album for this concert, I'm looking at this photo and I want to make it an album. So let's see, I always forget exactly where that is. I'm thinking it's either in the share button or the 3-dot menu at the top. Let me look at the 3-dot menu at the top. I think I just moved it up. Oh no, that just, okay. When I did the 3 dots, I do see the choice here that says add to album. Annotate. You can see it right about the middle of the screen. And if I choose add to album, I can pick one of my albums that I already have, or this is a new album, so I'm going to just tap new album. I'll tap and give it a title. Okay. And it's got the one photo in there, and then I can hit the check mark at the top. Now I can go back and look at some of my other photos from the concert. And I think I could do more than one. Let's see, where can you? Okay. So what I did just there is I kind of held down on the picture till I got the little circles, which allows me to select more than one. With them all selected, I think I come down to the add to button in the lower portion. And then I can add it to and then choose that pink 2023 album underneath recent. It's going to make that album and put them in there. And we go to the library, and then I have that album there, and you see those pictures all in there. Creates a little video of them I could play, which is a little slideshow. Oh, I guess it's just that one, sorry. Oh, that's it, okay. So here's the different photos there. Any questions about an album or making an let me show you a little bit what this looks like on the computer.
Linda, I just had a question. Did you
Yeah.
mention how we can share that album with others?
Yeah, I can show that on the computer too. So
Okay.
to look at it on the, I have two Google's accounts, so I'm just going to switch into my personal one, and I'm going to go to photos.google.com. Oops, wrong person. Okay, so you see here in the list the albums, that pink 2023. So this has created the album for me. Now, if I want to add more pictures to the album, let's see. I think I have to go back to my photos. And I can hover over so I get the little check mark to pick them, pick a couple of photos. And I want to add them to an album. So I think I come up here to the plus, and I can add it to this album. And then I've got a couple more in here. Deleting something from an album is pretty easy. You can just click on it, and I think it's under the three dots, and you can say remove from the album. So removing from the album would remove it from that album, but it's still in my library. Moving it to trash would delete it from my library and any albums that it's in, if it's in more than one album. So it's a difference between those two things. You remove just takes it out of that particular album, but it's still in other albums in your library. And it kind of tells you what it will do as well. Whereas delete, if I were to delete it, move to trash, it tells you that it removes completely. Okay, so to share this, to share just a single photo, you can do that with the share button, this little angular thing, right? And then you could send it to a person, you could create a link to it, put it on Facebook, something like that. To share the album, now I don't know if this will work. Let's see, this way. Okay. So you can invite somebody to the album. So I have another account. So this one here, I'm gonna invite that person. Okay, so now my personal account, Linda Joy Siegel, is connected, and my work account, Linda at Technology for Life, also has access to the same album. Let me take a look at this one here. So this picture in the corner, this is my Technology for Life account for photos. Let me reload this. And if I go to sharing, I'll probably see here that I now have access to this pink album. So I shared it to this, so here I'm looking at it with this Technology for Life. So I could add things to this album. I think I can add things to this album, maybe. That would add people.
Yeah. Linda, the reason why I asked that question, if you try to send something from Google Drive, it's like very complicated. You have to make sure it's private and anybody can look at the link. That's why I wanted to know if you send or share an album with somebody, if they have to have a special password, or that's why I was asking.
Yeah, they don't have to have a password. They need to have their own. I shared it with someone who had a Google account.
So you'd have to have a Google account.
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. let me see. I'm just looking to see if, yeah. So when I know it's confusing because I shared it, both accounts have my name on it. When I shared it from my personal account to my Technology for Life account, here, this is my Technology for Life account. I got an email saying this album was shared with me from Linda Joy Siegel, which is my personal account.
Linda, could you
Yeah.
now download those pictures onto that? The one you shared it with to your business one, can you download the pictures?
Yes, so this is now I'm in the upper right, you'll see my picture here. So that tells you that I'm in my business account, Technology for Life. And I believe I could do things like save the photo to my own library. So let me save this one. Okay, now if I go into the library, my photos, I have this picture. In my photos, I don't have any other the pink photos. I would only see them under sharing. But that one I downloaded, so it's now part of my personal library.
Okay, and that's all in Google. So like I was asking for my husband who has Apple, is there any way to get it into the Apple library?
Yes, you can do that on your phone. You can, I'll just look at my phone for a second. Yeah, on your phone, when that person receives the photo, they can use the share button and save it to their device. And I believe that would save it into my camera roll, into my Apple one. Let's see, I think I can show that as an example. Let's see. It's confusing because there are things everywhere. Well, let's see. I can remind me and I can show you where I did that on my phone, and then you can see that. But on the phone, what you would need is the iPhone user would need to also have Google Photos installed on their phone. And then
Gotcha.
the Apple user would have Google Photos and Apple Photos. And within the Google Photos, they could tap on an image, tap on the share button, and choose Save to Device, and then it saves it to their Apple photos as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so the album is there, and I've actually given access to two different people. These are two different accounts, my personal and my business one. But it could be two different people, they're just not. You can hit the plus button and you can invite more people to share with it. I think you can even create a link, and anyone with the link could see photos. So you want to be careful with that, because if that link gets passed around, they would have access to. So it's better for security, it's better to share with specific people. Now, once you share with them, you can't control really what happens to it. If they download it and then pass it around, that's possible too. So, but you could invite them, and so that then they would see it in their Google Photos as well. So albums are a good way to organize your photos around different topics, and it's another layer of organization. You can end up getting a lot of albums, so it can get a little bit cluttered there as you do it, but that just kind of helps you in seeing the different, collections that you have. And as I mentioned before, the same photo could be in more than one album. So I have an example. I have an album here called Final Out, and there's 61 items in there. So I took a bunch of pictures for reference for a book cover that I was designing. And then I wanted to make a subset of that I showed at the book signing, with only 9 of the photos that ended up being used. That was kind of a fun way to create some of the material. So there, I'm not going to show all the the photos that I took as I was prepping for it, but just kind of the highlighted ones. So this very same photo, this one here, exists in both. So this is image 2572. It's in this album that's called The Book Signing, and it's also in this album. I think it's this one, 2572. It's in both places. And that doesn't add to my storage. It's not a complete duplicate. It's just a reference. So that's, excuse me, one nice thing you can have with albums is you can have the same photo, like I said, in more than one album.
Linda, did you make the second album, the Final Out one, from the first one or from your photos?
I made the first album, the one that's just called Final Out, this one here.
Yeah.
I made that one first, where I just gathered all the photos that I took. We went out and we took some different photos. I wasn't quite sure exactly what angle I was going to use, and the lighting was different in a few of them. So I took a few of them, few different ones, and then I ended up once I designed the cover, I wanted at the book signing. We did a little zoom for it. I wanted to be able to show some of the photos, just kind of as like a making of how we did the cover, kind of thing. So this album that's called Final Out has 61 items, whereas the one for book signing, Final Out book signing, I'm not sure why I had 2. I have more items in that one. I probably showed the smaller one with there.
I guess my question is, did you make the smaller one, the final one, from the first album, or do you have to go back to photos?
No, that's a good point. Yeah, it's kind of handy here. Let's say I decided I wanted the boats. I could pick them, and then I can hit the plus, create an album here. So yeah, I probably did it that way. I probably grouped them all into one big album, and then I selected the best of and made another album from there. This is also where you can see you get access to some of the other features like the collage. So if I took those, let's see, let me do a few more pictures. Okay, I got about 5 here. And hit plus and do collage. So it's going to take those 5 photos and create a little collage for me. And I'll go ahead and put that in the album. And here's those 5 photos of the collage. And I think I can I edit these? Well, that does enhancement. That's more like the touch up, I believe. Nope, not that. Guess I can't really order these in this tool. It just creates the collage itself. Yeah. Oh, that can be kind of handy if you want to create like a little collage there. I want to delete. So yeah, so I made the bigger album first to begin with all of them. And then from there, I created the subset of the photos that I wanted to pull out so that I could more easily find them.
Is Google your preferred source for using all your photos?
Google, my preferred, say that again?
Is it your preferred source for working with photos?
Well, it's a good, I guess the answer is it sort of depends. For if you're an Android user, it's a really good, I think it's a good tool to use on your smartphone, and it's nice to have this web interface that you can access from your computer as well. So you can kind of go back and forth between your albums, you know, working with them on your phone and working with them on your computer. If you're an Apple user, then I think, and you have Apple devices like an iPhone and a Mac, then I think sticking within the Apple environment is a good way to go, because it's pretty seamless, right? You take a photo on your phone and it gets transferred up to the iCloud, can get synced to your computer, and things kind of share nicely. I'm kind of in a hybrid situation. I use an iPhone as my phone, but I use a Windows PC, and I also use a Mac computer, but I'm mostly on a Windows PC for my primary. So sometimes I go into Google Photos for that. When I'm looking at my photos primarily on my phone, I'm creating albums within Apple Photos. We might at some point do an Apple Photos class for iPhone users. But I think Google Photos is a pretty good organizational tool. It's easy to create albums, which is a nice way to organize and, you know, find your photos. It has great search capability because it's built on top of Google. And it has the ability to share with other people, and even iPhone users can access it through the link or through the Google Photos app as well. So,
Linda,
yeah.
someone if my husband who has Apple puts Google Photos on his phone, is every photo he take gonna go in there and then he'll have to start paying the monthly thing too?
So there is a setting for that where he can choose whether or not to back up to the Google Cloud his photos. So he doesn't have to use that if he's using the Apple Photos. You know, he can use it maybe just to access albums that you share with him.
Okay.
To do, and then he could save them to his own Apple Photos and then use the Apple Cloud system for sharing between his devices.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the setting. Okay, let me check my notes again.
Linda, do you have time to talk about the movie?
The memories thing?
Well, I think I thought I saw when you were searching that there was a movie one. And I just wonder what that was. Did I not see it?
On my phone or on my?
I can't remember. Maybe it was. It's all right.
No, that's let me share my phone again.
I didn't know if it made videos or movies, but that's what that was really the question.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's see. Let me share my phone again. Okay. So back to Google Photos. So Google Photos has this thing at the bottom called Memories, which I talked a little bit about, where it kind of does the groupings for you. And let's see, let me put in a title. I think this one is mostly cats. I'm going to tap on it and see what it see what pictures it put in there. Oh, put in a variety of things. Okay, it wasn't all cats. Let's see if I want to get rid of some of these things that aren't cats, if I can do that. So I'm just going to tap on some of these book covers. And I want to remove them, so I'm looking for remove. I don't see anything. I'm going to try the 3-dot menu in the top right. Remove from album. There we go. Okay, so so I've edited the memory a little bit. It grabbed them initially, but I've edited into just these 8 or 9 photos. Now let's see. What happens when I hit the play button at the top here? Is that going to make a movie for me? And I don't know, but
Well, yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like it's scrolling through.
Looks like it is, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay, yeah. So here's the different
Hmm.
movies that are part of it. Oh, rainbow.
It's kind of like a slideshow, or
Kind of like a little slideshow, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, it made that grouping of photos. I didn't make that. So I think I could make my own memory. I'm thinking it's at the top here with this plus. And I can create, oops, sorry. I can create a movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
it does say create movie.
Yeah, let's see, I'll create a new movie. And I can pick some photo. Wait, that one's a video. It's got time on it. So I could do a little video in there.
Hmm.
Let's see. Okay, create that. Okay, so I created one. It even added a little bit of music to it. I think I can hit the music button and maybe change it. Oop, music theme. It should be rocking, something rocking. How about that? That's gonna get annoying. And then I guess you can adjust how long of the clip you use. It looks like it pre-selected the clip. And some of these that were movies, it looks like it pre-selected it, but let's see what I do done. A little annoying there. Yeah, so you could make your own movie that you want from there. But
Can you then share that?
yeah. What's that?
Can you then share that movie?
Sure. Let's see, where did that go? This Barcelona. Oops. I don't know what it did. I just switched out of there for a second. So to share it, let's see. It's planned. I would use the share button, which is down here in the lower right, that box with the arrow. Share it again.
Okay.
Share it to a person. Gonna send it to my Technology for Life account. Then I just got a notice that it's shared with me, and then I can view the memory logging into the other account. Once it loads. Yeah, so it's like a little slideshow.
Nice.
Lots of ideas.
Yeah. Hold on, let me get out of this one. Go back into Google Photos. Well, this is interesting. So I have different I have two different Google accounts. That's why it looks a little bit different. Down at the, oh, you're not seeing my screen anymore. Yeah, so there's a lot of different things you can do with it within the app itself, and you can go back and forth between your phone and your computer through the web browser to do that. Any questions? Probably many questions. Can you still hear me? Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I have to leave, but thank you very much. It was very helpful, Linda.
Okay, thank you.
I really appreciate it. I learned a lot today, so thank you.
Okay. Great.
Bye.
Okay.